Hi, everyone, and welcome to The Hash, where we bring you the latest and greatest in crypto and culture. My name is Naomi Brockwell, and today on the show, we have Sundali Hundagama, we have Will Foxley, we have Zach Seward, and we have a lot of news to dive into. So I'm going to kick this straight off to Zach to talk about what's going on with inflation.
Inflation, sanctions, and more being discussed right now at the House Financial Services Committee, where Fed Chair Jerome Powell is testifying in front of lawmakers today in D.C. A lot of news out of this already. Powell talking about inflation, talking about rate hikes, and also talking about the need for some crypto regulation. Just want to read a response to a question that he fielded there. He said, we have this burgeoning industry which has many, many parts to it. And there isn't in place the kind of regulatory framework that needs to be there. It was probably no different with railroads or telephones or the internet. Ultimately, what's needed is a framework, and in particular, ways to prevent these unbacked cryptocurrencies from serving as a vehicle for terrorist financing and just general criminal behavior, tax avoidance, and the like. This was in response to a question that he faced in which he said that the war underscores the need for crypto regulations in a clear and concise manner. And it's interesting to see him unpacking some of these ideas in real time. You're watching a live feed that will continue over the course of the day. Lots to unpack here, many angles to pursue. I'm going to throw it straight to Naomi for her initial thoughts on Fed Chair Jerome Powell.
So that quote that you just read, Zach, there's so many things to dive into for it. First of all, let's just talk about the word unbacked, where they're talking about cryptos as these unbacked entities. I'd like to know what's backing gold. Is there anything backing gold? No, because gold is the entity. So why do people keep calling crypto unbacked? It is the entity. That is the asset, right? That has value. So it just bothers me, like when people talk about crypto and they clearly don't understand it, that the value is actually in the entity itself. It doesn't need to be backed by some promise from, a bankrupt government in order for it to be valuable. That's actually something that makes it not valuable. So that was something I wanted to clue into. And obviously we've got the ridiculous rhetoric about, well, this is a tool for criminals and all of those things. And so, it's absolutely not surprising. And as soon as I started to see reports about Russia being kicked out of SWIFT, the ruble tanks for 45%. Suddenly crypto, you got a giant hike in the market. Everyone from Russia, I presume, piles in because literally these people are being persecuted and cut out of the global financial infrastructure because of the actions of their dictator. And I was like, okay, Russia's piling into this. Obviously, this is going to be an excuse for increased regulation on crypto because we can't let Russian people access crypto. I mean, not to mention that we need to make a big division between the actions of a dictator and the people. Let's not conflate the state with the citizenship of that country. But also, it's just not surprising to me that they're using this as an excuse to crack down on crypto. As they say, never let a good crisis go to waste. So just a lot going on here. Nothing is surprising. We're expecting the rate hikes. We've been expecting that for many, many months now. I think that the hikes are slightly less than we initially thought that they would be because now they've got war filling the media, and so people are less concerned about inflation. That's not in the news cycle, so they don't seem the pressing urge to clamp down there. I'm very cynical today, guys. I'm just going to throw this to Will while I sit here and just contain my cynicism.
There's three important things happening right now. One, Bitcoin's price is going up, went up 15% the last 24 hours or 48 hours rather. Two, a rate hike may happen, and people have been expecting that for quite a while. It's pretty small, about 25 basis points, which is not big at all. And then lastly, Russia-Ukrainian conflict, and how does that influence monetary policy globally? A lot of people are looking at these three things, seeing the convergence between them, and wondering if there's connections between them. My take on Bitcoin's price, that is pretty external or exogenous to what's happening with Russia and with anything else. I think it has more to do with monetary policy, and I think it has more to do with where the general economy is at right now. I don't think a lot of Russians are dropping their money into Bitcoin right now. I think a lot of Russians are having trouble getting money into or out of their bank account right now. And so Bitcoin, probably not really part of the conversation. I do think that a lot of Americans and a lot of Westerners, people with free cash right now, might be purchasing Bitcoin because they're looking at one, monetary policy in the United States, which is going to tighten a little bit, and two, the Russian conflict, and saying Bitcoin's price will probably go up in the long run just based on how we're seeing the global macro environment play out. So I think there needs to be like a clear distinction between those two things. I think on the rate hike thing, just like what you said, Naomi, people have been expecting this for quite a while. So Jerome Powell's comments this morning pretty in line with what we've been expecting for about the last 3 months. They hinted at that in December. Some Fed notes were leaked, and they said they're going to increase the basis points or the interest rate for about 0.25 basis points. That's been expected. And right now, I think with the Ukrainian-Russian conflict, there hasn't been enough of a need from this conflict to change monetary policy. Arthur Hayes, who is the founder of 100X and BitMEX before that, or I guess it's basically the same entity at this point, wrote a really nice blog post yesterday talking about 3 different situations that could happen because of monetary policy in the United States, monetary policy globally, and then the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. And his conclusion basically was, 1, the Fed will probably stick to its primary goals based on what it said in December, or 2, it will use the Russian conflict as an excuse to lower interest rates yet again and continuing printing money. And right now we're seeing option 1 play out. We could see option 2 happen if the Russia and Ukrainian conflict continues to worsen. I'll throw it over to you, Sindali.
Thanks, Will. And just to kind of go off of what Naomi said, we've heard something similar from the head of the European Central Bank, Christine Lagarde, as well. She also said there's an urgent need for crypto regulations over concerns that crypto may be used to evade sanctions. And I think there are legitimate concerns, and it really just shows how much regulators underestimated the influence of crypto and underestimated how fast it would evolve. They're always behind, having to play quick catch up, and also realizing it's not easy to control something like crypto. We saw how the Ukrainian government requested crypto exchanges to block all Russian users and exchanges, and exchanges came back with like a resounding no, saying, because of course it goes against the whole point of crypto. But on the other hand, it's hard to know to what extent they are successful at blocking users in countries accessing these services. So sorry about that. I think we're at such an interesting crossroads right now, and we have one instrument used 2 ways for 2 different reasons, and it all boils down to a question of freedom in the end. And regulators are feeling the pressure, I think. So, Naomi, I saw your hand go up.
I just, on that note, I have a couple of tweets I wanted to read. I didn't prep them in advance, so you won't be able to see them. Just imagine it from my dramatic reading. So Hillary Clinton actually did an interview yesterday. She says, I was disappointed to see so-called crypto exchanges refusing to end transactions with Russia from some philosophy of libertarianism or whatever. Like, she literally said libertarianism or whatever. And this comment just struck me in my core, because, this rascally idea that individuals should be treated as individuals and not persecuted due to the actions of their totalitarian government. Like, of course, the crypto exchanges are not going to block an entire population from using their services when they've, personally done nothing wrong. Keep in mind, the Russian people are being conscripted into this war, and everyone is just kind of going on this campaign to hate against all of them as if they're all on par with what Putin's doing. But let's change track there before I go riling some more. And Will, I'm going to throw off to you.
Well, we're not changing track too much, so keep that blood boiling there, Naomi. We're going to need it for this segment. Is crypto going into a bear market or not? A new report from Bank of America says that we're going to keep trading crab. Interest in the space in terms of money and development across different chains continues to see pretty normal levels across what we've seen for the last 2021, 2022. They don't really see anything dropping off, which is a conversation a lot of people in the crypto have had for quite a while. Most people in crypto are used to 80% plus drawdowns, these really infamous bear markets that flush a lot of people out of the ecosystem. And this time, maybe it's different. Zach, I want to get your take on this. Obviously, Russia, monetary policy in the United States, a lot of these other conversations we just had in the prior segment have a lot to do with what we're seeing right here on this topic from Bank of America.
A lot of really interesting signals in the market, but I'm a fan of these crypto market cycles that seem to exist as a force of nature, right? We see this bull run, we see a prolonged bear, we see another bull after that, each sort of ascending on this staircase upward with big significant dips in between. It feels pretty wintry. It feels like we're sort of in that bear. I don't know, maybe that's just a vibe in the market or a vibe among people that you speak with, that it's, it's biddle season. It's time to build. It's not time to ride bull gains to the moon. So I don't know. I think this one is odd. I think, again, there are just all these conflicting signals in the market that kind of make it really hard to assess at this point in time whether or not we are in sort of this traditional crypto cyclicality, or if, we've somehow escaped this cycle that we've seen time and time again the last 10, 12 years. So I don't know. I would like to dig further into the data that they were looking at. It seems to be that the data, at least mentioned in this article, is somewhat sophisticated, but it'd be curious to see if this cycle is any different from the past ones that we've seen. I got to toss this to Naomi for her thoughts, because she has been through many a cycle in her day, and I'm wondering if this is similar to what previously existed in the crypto winter of, say, 18, 19, 20.
Yeah, I mean, I love the way we talk about it like that. The crypto winter of 18.
So long ago.
So long ago. Yeah, I mean, I actually agree with this report. I think that as we see these different bull markets and bear markets and these cycles continue over the years, I mean, in the early days, I think these cycles were so dramatic because people had no idea what this currency was going to be. It was this idea in our imagination, this potential that this could potentially create a network effect. We could have this global economy of this uncensorable money. And so it would like spike up to $1 and then it would crash and everyone would be like, well, that dream was short-lived. But slowly more people would learn about it. And then suddenly you get another spike. A whole new segment of the population would get involved. And then it would crash and people would be like, okay, well, that was clearly all the people that would ever be interested in it. You get another one and another one. And this just happens time and time again. What we're seeing at the moment is such an incredible momentum behind crypto. Like, crypto is in the limelight completely right now. Eric Voorhees had a great tweet about that, where he says that, Bitcoin being a neutral money system will be both the savior to the oppressed and menace to the oppressor. And we're seeing a lot of oppression right now. So savior to the trucker convoy, menace to Trudeau, savior to the Russian people, menace to NATO, savior to the Ukrainian people, menace to Russia. And so, I mean, there are just so many use cases that are being brought to the forefront right now that I don't think anyone is second guessing the value proposition of Bitcoin right now, unless you're Peter Schiff. And he's going to continue second guessing that for like decades. And we'll be like, Peter, come to our side. He's like, no, I already, dug my trench. I'm going to stay in it forever. That was a side note. What I'm saying is that I think that what we're seeing right now in this cycle is substantially different, because the mainstream population is in crypto right now. It's huge. We've had even if you're just looking at the NFT markets, if you're just looking at institutional adoption, or if you're looking at all of the biggest headlines where people are just focused on crypto, they're wondering what's going to happen with it. I think it's substantially different. That doesn't mean that we're going to see the end of these cycles. I think they're going to continue until we get more people in. We're going to see a lot of volatility in the market. But I think that as we get more liquidity in these markets, it will start to even out. And as it starts to be used in everyday transactions, starts to be pegged to like things in real world goods more, I think we're going to start to see that even out. But I don't think we're in for a crypto winter, because inflation's still going on. We've got wars, we've got censorship, we've got seizure of accounts. There's just too many things that crypto provides a solution for, and too many people watching it right now. I just don't see this being a prolonged bear market. But I will throw it to you, Sandali, for your thoughts.
Thanks. No, I totally agree with you. I mean, the prices might say otherwise, and we're seeing different things, but it is absolutely in the limelight right now. It is having its moment, and I mean, what a moment it's having. We're in the middle of a war, and crypto is in the spotlight thanks to all these donations coming in, and it's just a great moment in history. And I think that this is gonna propel it to another level, and we're just gonna see it continue through. Honestly, like I'm excited at this moment. It's so many different stories, so many different use cases, as you said. And yeah, I don't see a crypto winter right now. I mean, look at our news cycle, look at what we've been publishing. So many stories every single day, so many different takes, and I can't even wrap my head around it, honestly. And so
Very
yeah,
bullish.
I can't see a winter right now. I agree with you.
Nuclear
Totally.
winter, on the other hand, maybe on the table. Let's
Sorry,
not get too
I
complacent
stumbled,
here.
Quick take from Will before we wrap. Will,
Yeah.
quick thoughts. What do you got? You got to get in on this.
Quick
thoughts.
I got a number.
Quick
I mean,
take.
okay. I think I kind of disagree with both of them. I think that we could see a little bit of a drawdown. I think that people are getting tired of crypto. I think retail is getting tired of crypto. So I think we do draw down for a little bit, but I think the use cases and values keep us at a sustained level that we wouldn't have had if these things hadn't happened. If the trucker riots in Canada hadn't happened, if the Ukraine-Russia conflict hadn't happened, Bitcoin would have crashed harder, crypto would have crashed harder. But I think because of it, we'll go into like a small winter, like a slight winter, and then who knows if we like pop into 100K a coin. I don't know. But I think interest in retail, people just don't care as much anymore. Like just look at like across the metrics, Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, people reading articles about Bitcoin. It's down a lot. So I think the money's starting to leave a little bit. But we'll go to break. I don't want to depress all of you guys.
We'll take a break. We'll take a break. That was good stuff. We'll talk about another weird 2022 headline. Ukraine is considering a crypto airdrop to those who donated. Ukraine airdrop after the break. We'll unpack that, what it means and more on The Hash. Thanks for being here. Talk to you soon.
Welcome back to The Hash. Our next story is about the Ukrainian government announcing an airdrop on its official Twitter account to reward crypto donors as the country stands against a Russian invasion. We've seen some big donations come into Ukraine in the last few days. Yesterday, Polkadot's Gavin Wood donated $5 million to a dot wallet set up by the Ukrainian government. The government has raised a total of around 37 million in crypto donations, according to the country's Minister for Digital. The government is now accepting donations of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Polkadot, and others, including most recently Dogecoin, I think. So we have so few details so far about so-called airdrop and how this is going to happen. We know that this is a way to reward crypto donors. We don't know what those rewards are going to be. We know that there might be a snapshot scheduled for tomorrow. We don't know what blockchains are going to be involved. There's also some chatter about whether this announcement is even legitimate. This is what we know so far, but the news is definitely spreading fast. So I'm really interested to hear what you guys think about this. So I'm going to toss it to Will because I see a nod.
Yeah, totally. It's interesting to see all this money floating in from crypto into the Ukrainian conflict. I have two things that it might not be very popular takes, but the first is that it's interesting to see uncensorable non-state money being given to a state to wage war. That is definitely interesting and has not happened in my understanding of human history to date, right? Like, I don't know if there's any case where we've seen something quite like this. Whether you stand on one side or the other of the conflict, that's definitely different. I mean, there's always been some sort of humanitarian donations for war causes, right? Giving to like the Red Cross or whatnot. This seems to be like direct aid with Bitcoin or with ETH or USDT or whatever crypto coin you want to use to the Ukrainian war effort, which is very different from what cypherpunks probably originally intended for Bitcoin. The intention of Bitcoin was to be non-state sovereign money that an individual could hold and protect themselves against the state. And here we have Bitcoin, same technology being used to fund a war effort. So that's very, very interesting. The second thing is that I'm seeing a lot of shills from people on getting their coins involved in this. You saw that the Ukrainian government posted that tweet. Bitcoin, they put ETH, they put USDC or USDT. And then underneath, we saw a lot of people saying, hey, what about my coin? I'll give you a lot of money if you include it. And to me, it's just like a bad look. Like, it's very nice that you're being generous to this effort, but a lot of these people are already fabulously wealthy, and they could have just swapped it for something else and donated it. Instead, they made it into a PR and marketing stunt. So I'm not a huge fan of that. I saw a few different people choose to go along that route. All for charity, but I don't think you need to turn it into a coin shilling event. Zach, I'm going to throw it up to you.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams in the space, just based on some of the reporting that we've been doing, who are trying to thread that needle, right? How do I, get my network involved while not coming across as extremely shilly, as you put it, Will? So there is definitely a lot of conversations happening behind closed doors, whether that's Polkadot or Avalanche or whoever is trying to get in on this action. They're trying to figure out ways to make it seem as authentic as possible, while also sort of touting the benefits of their chain over various others. So it is that weird dance that we're seeing, I think, on Twitter unfold in real time with this @Ukraine account that is now saying airdrop confirmed in this kind of really weird and light on detail fashion. This sort of like crypto sidebar to this whole conflict continues to get strange, right? Like a CryptoPunk was donated, worth like $200,000. A Ukrainian flag NFT just sold for $6.75 million. So there's all these sort of novel and strange fundraising mechanisms that are at play that are unfolding in concert with what is a really atrocious, sad, terrible human story that's unfolding in Ukraine itself. So interesting to watch this play out, but it's going to stay weird, especially if this airdrop goes through. All right, we're going to change gears. We're going to stay in Ukraine, but we're going to talk about another angle on it. Naomi, I think this is yours.
Yeah, so interesting things coming out from Airbnb at the moment. They have confirmed that they are actually going to be allowing Ukrainian refugees, giving them free housing. And I think that's pretty cool. According to their website, Airbnb has about 6 million active listings worldwide, more than 4 million hosts, and there are 100,000 cities and towns with active Airbnb listings. That's an incredible network to draw on, to use and leverage to get resources to people who need it. And so, very interesting they're going down that route. It's not the only thing that's come out from Airbnb. So in an interview with CNBC yesterday, the CEO, Brian Chesky, was asked about crypto, and the interviewer said, well, people are using this in the Ukraine. They're accepting crypto donations. They're looking for ways to be able to actually use crypto everyday life. Is Airbnb considering adding cryptocurrency? And Brian said, absolutely. So they're diving into this. This is something like, this isn't news. We've known that they've been diving into this for a little while. Brian put out this tweet a while ago. He's like, what would you like to see on our platform? And everyone responded, crypto. So they've been diving into it since then, at least. So it is interesting. All of these different factors coming into play, people recognizing the use case of cryptocurrency, Airbnb saying, well, we want to help people in need, and we also want to make it easy for them to pay in ways that they have access to. A lot of these people don't have access to their bank accounts anymore, but they have access to cryptocurrency donations. So maybe we can integrate that. But then they're also giving away up to 100,000 free lodgings for people in need. So some really, really awesome stuff being mobilized around the world to support people. These are pictures from Ukraine at the moment. So you can see the devastation going on. So people fleeing, they're looking for places to stay, and Airbnb is really stepping up to the plate there. But Zach, I'll throw it to you for your take on all of this.
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, it's kind of everyone doing their part. And, we see that whether it's, Sam Bankman-Fried at FTX saying, hey, we're giving, everyone based in Ukraine $50 on our platform, right? Everyone's sort of trying to chip in a way that gets them involved, but also feels, I guess, authentic to the mission of the company. And it is that odd dance, right? Like, what is sort of like marketing and what is like genuine help? And I think in this instance, it's likely genuine help. And we're seeing that there for people who are in need of housing in a time of crisis. Interesting. The crypto angle additionally is quite interesting, right? If this becomes, again, currency rather than asset in this part of the world in times of conflict, it's interesting to see that is what's moving the ball forward to have big tech platforms traditionally in Web 2 embrace some Web 3 technologies, at least on the payment side. So going to see if that actually rolls out. But yeah, interesting to see, again, like companies from crypto to traditional tech companies trying to find a way to help out here in a time of need, I think is going to be something we're going to continue to watch. I'm going to toss this to Sandali for her thoughts, though.
Yeah, thanks. What stood out to me was what Naomi said, that it's probably been looking into crypto for at least some time, that this is something that users are genuinely interested on seeing on the platform. So I think that, this interest is not something that is unique to this crisis in particular. This is a growing interest as a payment option on platforms that are widely used by everybody. So I think that we're going to definitely see something on the platform, if not soon, then, as soon as they can work something out. I'm interested to see what kind of payments will be available, if they're going to launch their own token or something. It would be interesting to see how they build out the ecosystem. But Naomi, I saw your hand.
Yeah, I think that Airbnb is particularly well positioned to accept crypto from a needs standpoint. So as someone who used to travel a huge amount, like 2014 to 2019 for crypto conferences. So I was like emceeing a couple of conferences a month internationally. And I started to make it an effort to not ever convert my US dollars into whatever the local currency was. I would actively seek out places that were accepting crypto because it's so much easier to travel internationally if you just have one currency. Airbnb is literally a company that connects people from all over the world who have all different kinds of currencies. It makes a lot of sense for them to be accepting something that is globally recognized rather than siloed, behind national borders. So you've seen, there have been a lot of companies. Travala is another well-known one that accepts crypto. When you have these international type companies that do connect people all over the world, it makes a lot of sense for them to be delving into crypto. And that's a real use case because exchanging money, every time you go in and out of someone's national currency, you're losing a huge amount in the exchange rate. It's crazy, it's criminal. And there are often cartels where you necessitate to go to certain companies to do that exchanging. So crypto really does provide a solution there. It's interesting that Airbnb is now exploring that. But let's wrap that up. Zach, I'll throw it back to you.
You got it. Good closing thoughts. So we'll close the show on those, and we will be back tomorrow with The Hash on CoinDesk TV. Before then, all about Bitcoin, 3 p.m. Eastern, CoinDesk.com for all the latest in crypto news. And Twitter, Facebook. What else are we on? LinkedIn, TikTok. We're everywhere. We're everywhere these days. Check us out there, wherever you get your news. We'll talk to you soon. I'm Zach. That's Will. We got Sandali. We got Naomi. We're The Hash. Bye. Have a good day out there.
See ya.